Hey guys, what's going on? It's Brie Marie D for Boston Banner Bound and on Celtics Corner. And I was feeling pretty sick, just run down. I've been working a lot, like every day. And then obviously I was blessed to go to both Celtics games. So just go constantly. So if I sound raspier than normal, that is why. I wanted to suck it up, come on here and do a recap for you of the first two games of round one that I was, again, blessed to be at. So I'm going to talk to you about the experience, how it was, what actually happened, and what we think is going to happen going forward. So round one, game one, obviously Celtics were the higher seed, so it took place at the TD Garden, and it just so happened to be Easter Sunday, so we all threw on our Sunday best, and we made it to the TD Garden to celebrate with our Celtics family. When I noticed right off the bat what I wrote down in my notes, so when I'm at the game, I'm not as, like, I don't want to say focused, but like when I'm at the game, I'm obviously enjoying the atmosphere and I'm involved in the game and like what I see with my eyes. I'm not really writing down every stat every quarter. So bear with me with my notes. I'm just kind of read what I wrote and then kind of just remember from experience the atmosphere of the game, what happened during the game, and go from there. So turnovers were a huge deal. The Celtics were really good on defense and causing a lot of turnovers for the Nets. I wrote down there were 20 fouls committed in the first quarter. You heard me right. Quarter. So the refs were very whistle happy. A lot of fouls are being called on both sides. And it was just like a very intense game right off the bat. You already knew like the energy is what it was. Obviously, a lot of people were ready to boo Kyrie, and booed they did. It was tied 61 at the half, and then, as you all know, we won this game 115-114 at the buzzer from our defensive player of the year having the highlight reel of his life. He was wide open for a three, and everyone was kind of holding their breath like, is he going to take this wide open three right now and we don't need a three? I don't know. Honestly, any other year, I believe Marcus Smart would have took that shot. But this year, Marcus Smart, defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, my point guard, Marcus Smart, with the eyes of a hawk, saw Jason Tatum open under the basket because KD, for some reason, was frozen at the free throw line doing God knows what, because it wasn't defense, I'll tell you that. I don't know what this man was doing or thinking, but he was just frozen there as if his controller broke in a 2K game. I'm not quite sure what happened, but Tatum got the ball, scoop the loop, boop, boop, put it in right at the buzzer, and then, of course, we're all kind of holding our breath because we weren't going to, like, overly celebrate until we heard that the review was confirmed and that the Celtics have won 115-114, and it was just banana land. Everyone was super amped, super hyped. It was just such a great environment, and it was so fun to be a part of. I lost my voice and found my voice 20 times. I got to see Scal at the beginning of the game and at the end of the game, and it was just such a good environment. Like, everybody was there cheering for our team, and on a holiday, it was just even more exciting. Everyone was day drinking. Everyone was partying during the game, partying after the game. It was just a really fun environment. I was really fortunate to be a part of it, and I was like, there's no way I'm not going to game two. So, pause for a water break because my throat is rough. Game two, like I have told you guys before, I now work the pre-games for Bruins and Celtics games at a bar right across the street from the TD Garden. So luckily, I have the coolest bosses ever, and I have the coolest setup ever where I was able to work the pregame and then actually be able to purchase tickets and go to the game. Like, I maybe missed like the 9-0 run that the Nets had. Like, I was literally like waiting for Ticketmaster to upload my tickets as I was watching from the TVs outside, like waiting for my ticket to load to be able to go in and get my ticket scanned and go into the game. And I waited like legit. I bought them at 7. Like, I bought these tickets at 7. I went in at like 7:15, 7:20, and I only missed like 5 minutes of the first quarter. Like, it was just such like fate was on my side. I got there and they were, I believe the Nets were up like 16-7 or something. Like, and in my head, I'm like, oh, 9-0 run. We're not doing too hot. I don't know. This might be the game where Kyrie and KD wake up and I just spent all this money and rushed here and like tried so hard to get here. I bought the energy is about to shift shirt right before my shift so that I had something to change into from leaving work. And it was just a roller coaster of emotions. Got to see Scal again, got to see the people that I used to work with at NBC Sports Boston, Chris Forsberg, all those guys. So the Nets had a 17-point lead at one point in this game. And I'm like, no, please. We were doing so well. What's going on? Like, I just want this game to be another W because my effort, I tried so hard to get here and I'm here and I'm watching this game and I just was with all my people. Like, oh, just like Celtics fans are like no other. Like we don't know you, like we're strangers to each other, but we'll have a conversation, we'll dap you up, we'll like treat you like family. Like that's just the environment. That's how it is. So it was a tale of two halves, as you know. By a miracle, we were only down 10 going into the half. But if you actually watched the game play by play, you would think that the Nets were beating us by like almost 30. Like that's how bad we were doing in the first half. And I was like, okay, Ime, Grandpa Al, Marcus Smart Defensive Player of the Year. We need to have a really good halftime convo and turn this thing around because only being down by 10, you're saying there's a chance. And a chance there was. They turned this game around, full 180, held KD scoreless. Yeah, you heard me right. Scoreless for the entire second half. KD did not score. Not once. And they only held Kyrie Irving to 10 points the entire game. It was bananas. So let me just read to you the box score, just so that you have an idea of the sharing of the ball that the Celtics had. And literally every single person that went into this game besides one person had double figures. And that's huge. And like I've told you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in double figures means that the ball movement is right. The chemistry is right. Everyone's communicating, sharing. There's no selfishness. Everyone's doing their part in getting this W. So Tatum played 41 minutes, by the way, 19 points. Al Horford, 32 minutes, 16 points. Tice, 30 minutes, 15 points. And I believe, who was it that fouled out? I believe Tice fouled out at this point. For some reason on this box score, it's not showing me the fouls. But yeah, Tice or Horford, one of those two guys fouled out. It was foul trouble again. A lot of fouls being called again in this game. No surprise. Same thing as last game. Jaylen Brown, 39 minutes, 22 points. Marcus Smart, 35 minutes, 12 points. Grant Williams, 32 minutes off the bench, 17 points. Derek White, 13 minutes, 3 points off the bench. Peyton Pritchard, 15 minutes. 10 points off the bench. And it was just, like I said, just a well-rounded game. It was so awesome to see the turnaround because, like I said, they love to give us heart attacks, right? They love to, like, put us on this roller coaster ride of emotions. Giving KD and Kyrie a 17-point lead, you would think that it would just be over. Like you would just give up. But no, there was no giving up. There was fight in everybody's game. Like everyone was working together collectively towards the main goal, which was protecting home court. That's exactly what they did. They won that game 114-107. And now the Celtics are up 2-0 heading to Brooklyn in this 7-game series. And let me just give you 2 interesting stats. Key stats. Boston is 40-1 all time when they win their first 2 games of a 7-game series. And we all know what that one loss was, but if you need me to remind you, the one loss was coming in the 2017-2008 series against Cleveland and LeBron. So that was the only time that they lost in a 7-game series going up 2-0. So that's a really awesome stat. And if you're looking at that stat, the odds are in our favor. And another stat, the Nets are 0-7 all time after falling behind 2-0 in a 7-game series. So again, those stats are leaning in the Celtics' favor of winning this series. However, I got a DM from not so much a disgruntled Nets fan, but a true Nets fan saying for me to be aware that the Nets are undefeated against the Celtics in Barclays Center during the playoffs. So I did not fact check that. I kind of take what the Nets fans say with a grain of salt. No offense. But honestly, I was talking to some Celtics fans and they said, good old Kyrie waving the white flag. Seems like he gave up. Seems like he's given up on this team, and poor KD, he can't do this all by himself. KD is just struggling and he has, the weight of his whole team on his shoulders and he has no help. And it's crazy because when I say no help, if you look at their roster, it's stacked and it has depth. They have, what's his face? They have Patty Mills on their bench. They have Seth Curry, who's not as good as Steph, but almost. And then they have, if Andre Drummond fouls out or gets hurt, they have LaMarcus Aldridge, and they have, Blake Griffin. I'm like, why can't I think of his name? I know his name. Dated a Kardashian, right? Or something like that. I don't know, whatever. Blake Griffin on their bench, like they have a lot of power on their bench, but they are no match to the 8-man rotation of the underdog Boston Celtics. And imagine, listen to this, breaking news today, by the way. We knew that Rob was doing really well with, ramping back up to try and be game day ready. Spoiler alert, breaking news by Shams and Woj, he could return game 3. That's tomorrow. Like, less than 24 hours. We could see Rob, the Lob Lord Williams, Time Lord, Lob Lord, so many different nicknames for this man. Williams, play tomorrow. Limited minutes. But hey, it's something. Imagine we're beating the Nets without Rob. Can you imagine what it's going to look like with Rob inserted into our rotation? Celtics in 4? Question mark? Like, that's crazy. And on the other side of the coin, they're saying that Ben Simmons probably not to play for game 3, maybe game 4, but like, he's just been a question mark all season, as we know. I wouldn't really hold my breath for anything for Ben Simmons. I mean, you know that all he's going to do is insert passing and defense because he's not going to shoot the ball. And that's kind of what the Nets need right now. Also, it's probably going to hurt them more than help them to try and insert Ben Simmons into a rotation because it'll disrupt the team chemistry. It wouldn't be disrupting the team's chemistry to put Rob back in, however, because Rob actually played all year long and was in our starting 5 and was a huge help and factor and impact for our starting 5 and for our rotation. So it would be kind of like riding a bike. You don't forget, throw him back in the mix, everything's cool. They've actually been missing him, so it'll actually help the Celtics. But in the sense of bringing Ben Simmons back after not playing all year and inserting him in playoffs, mind you, in the starting 5 or even off the bench or even any sort of rotation or minutes, don't think it's going to help the Nets at all. I think it's actually going to hurt them as much as they think it's not. I think it might. So that'll be super interesting to see. As you know, game 3 is tomorrow in Brooklyn at 7 o'clock. And I will literally I'll cry tears of joy to see Rob Williams step on that court for his first game ever in playoffs. Oh, it's going to be awesome. That's so exciting. I'm so happy for him to get the start, to be able to play, to come back from an injury so quick. The only thing I was hesitant about, and obviously the doctors are not going to rush him back. They obviously want what's best for Rob. So if they're saying, hey, he's 100%, I have no reservations, I'm not worried, he's ready to go this early, earlier than predicted. We were told maybe 5 weeks, 7 weeks. This is 3 weeks. That's crazy. Like, to come back from a surgery, mind you, not just an injury, surgery, and be ready to go play in a playoff game, that is wild, bonkers, bananas. And that just goes to show you that our team has all the heart and soul and fight, and they deserve to go as far as possible as they can, as deep as they possibly can in this playoff run. I'm so impressed with them. Like, it's a wrap. I'm telling you, it is a wrap. I said Celtics in 7 because I thought that we were actually going to get the superstar versions of Kyrie and KD. Put them on a milk carton, knock, knock, who's there? Are you guys even, like, playing basketball? Because, let me tell you, no, you're not. They have been really not great. And the NBA on TNT panel said they both have to have stellar, perfect games. There's no room for error or imperfection when you're playing a team like the Boston Celtics with our defense. Our defense is insane. The fact that we held KD to 0 points for an entire half, whether we were double teaming him, triple teaming him, playing amazing one-on-one defense on him, we gave him such a hard time. And he was very kind of like frustrated and upset, as he should be. So us being able to limit him and contain him is huge. And doing that without Rob, imagine when we have Rob. Just imagine. Get your popcorn. It is going to be even more of a show. And I don't even think that's possible because game 1 and game 2, whoo, boy, that was a show. I imagine even watching it on TV, it was a show. So, loved that I was able to be a part of those 2 games live. Again, sorry I didn't have many notes written down on like hard evidence and hard facts. But if you watched both those games with your eyes, Celtics were just the superior team using home court advantage, using their fans as their, support as well, and kind of amping them up and giving them that extra boost along with their teammates. Their team chemistry has been undeniable, unbelievable. Jalen and Jason were both like, listen, this isn't just about me and Tatum or me and Brown. This is about all of us. We are a team and we're doing this as a team, and that really shows and speaks volumes. So I'm really excited to see how the rest of this series is going to look. I'm changing my answer from Celtics in 7 to, I don't think KD and Kyrie are going to wake up. I think they've waved the white flag and they've given up. So it's going to be Celtics in 5. It's going to be a gentleman's sweep. If anything, Celtics in 6. But the way that the Nets came out, I think it's Celtics in 5. And it's going to be glorious to win that game at home with everybody, super amped. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to go to the game. I think I have to stay at work for the full game on Wednesday. But you know what? I got to go 2 out of 3. And that just means I'm saving my money for round 2, baby. Round 2, game 1, I'll be in the Garden. And I will be ready to take on the next team that we face. One step closer to the ECF. One step closer to Banner Bound 18. This has been Brie Marie D for Boston Banner Bound, talking Celtics talk on Celtics Corner. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share for the Celtics Corner. And I will catch you next time recapping Game 3 and on for the Celtics. Now I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about Sox talk. I'm going to shift gears. Boom. Sox talk. Got that behind me now. So, we started off this season actually on the road. And of course, we faced probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest, competition, the New York Yankees. We started away for a 3-game series for the season opener. We lost 2 and we won 1. Not great. Started off the season 1-2 to start. And of course, the first game of the season actually went into extra innings. So obviously, as you know, we are notorious for doing four and a half hour plus long games with the Yankees. So that series started off rough in the Bronx. Then we went away again to Detroit. We took on the Detroit Tigers. We had a 3-game series over there. We lost the first one, so the Celtics were starting off the season 1-for-3, which did not bring Happy Brie around, let me just tell you that. Then they kind of woke up, 1-2 in a row. Sox are now 3-3. for the season when they make their return home for the home opener against the Minnesota Twins. I was fortunate enough to be there for the home opener, but not fortunate enough to see them win because they lost 8-4 in the home opener against the Twins. They had a 4-game Homestead series to take on the Twins, and they split the series 2-2. Sox are now 5-5 for the series. For the season at this point. Now they take on the Toronto Blue Jays, which again is tough competition again at home. It was a 3-game series following the Minnesota series, and they won the first one 6-5 and then lost the second 2. So now they're on a 2-game losing streak as they go on the road to Tampa Bay Rays, which again is another tough series. And like I said before, after that 1 day off in New York, they're playing 17 games straight, no days off, no breaks. And that's tough because we're out Chris Sale. We don't have him as a starting pitcher to put in the rotation. So it's kind of weighing heavy on the other pitchers' arms because some of these pitchers that aren't typically starters are now going to be forced to be a starter because we don't have Chris Sale as one of our rotational starters or our ace. He's supposed to be our ace. He's supposed to be our number 1 starter. We don't have him. So now everybody else has to pick up the slack while we wait his return from a broken rib that he suffered in preseason throwing a ball. Drink milk, bro, because I don't know what's happening there. I don't know how you break your own rib by throwing a ball, but that's kind of crazy. So anyways, also yesterday when they were taking on the Toronto Blue Jays for the last home game of that Homestead before they went to the Tampa Bay Rays for the game tonight at 7 o'clock, it was announced that Alex Cora has tested positive for COVID. So I'm not sure if now that's going to be an issue. I don't know who else he was in contact with. I don't know if we're going to see more people listed as out due to COVID. But you know what? Celtics are now 6-7 to start the season. I'd rather them be taken out with COVID now than later in the year. So if it's going to affect us at some point, just like it affected the Celtics at one point, and we had like 10 people out for the Celtics for those 2 weeks or whatever it was, I'd rather them get that now and get it out of their system and just be done with it because they're already not starting hot, below 500, not looking great. Our offense is asleep. I'm not sure what's going on with the offense. Not quite sure why we can't get the bats moving. Our bullpen isn't terrible. I will say that. They're not horrible, but we have some people that can step up more, do better. I don't know. It's kind of crazy that we're losing all these games. Like, we win 1, we lose 2, we lose 2, we win 2. Like, I don't like it. I don't know where our bats are. They're not awake yet. I also cannot stand our third base coach. I've been saying this for years that he's terrible. I'm just saying, like, maybe a 3-year-old could do a better job. I don't know, but like sending Devers and then having him have that. First of all, I'm glad he was safe. He pulled some acrobatic move to be safe on that, but should have never gone. And then he sends him and he gets caught in a pickle and he gets thrown out. And then I don't know and then also the first base coach, I don't know what's going on, but to send Vazzy, like you hit a ball off the green monster and it's like a hard hit ball right to the left fielder. Why would you ever, Vazzy is not fast. Take that as a long single. Why would you send him to second? Just terrible base running, terrible defensive efforts. There was a lot of errors. Like I've been seeing a lot of errors, dropped balls, pass balls, just like not doing well all around. Not just on the offensive end, but the defensive end as well. Like they need to tighten it up. I understand it was a shortened spring training, but everyone dealt with that. It wasn't just the Red Sox that didn't have a long enough spring training. It was everybody. So that can't be the excuse. Can't be the excuse about, oh, people want their contracts extended. They didn't get extended. Everyone's in their head. Who's going to replace them? Are they going to resign? Are they going to leave? Like, no, it can't be about that. Okay. Like your job is to play 162 games and then make it to the playoffs and focus on this year. Don't be in your head about signing extensions, contracts, this, that, the other thing. As we can see, just by how Cora is utilizing everybody, there's no set positions, really. There's no set batting order, really. And there's no set closer, middle relievers, nothing. So I couldn't even predict a game if I wanted to. I couldn't be like, okay, today, these people are definitely playing. They're going to bat in this order. They're going to play this position on the field. I can't. I couldn't even tell you. It could change in the blink of an eye. It could change at the snap of a finger. It could change any moment. So that kind of keeps it interesting, keeps me on my toes, because if you thought that Arroyo was going to be playing right field, I couldn't tell you that. If you thought that Bobby Dalbec was going to play third and that Devers was going to DH, I couldn't have predicted that. It's just, I don't even know. If you thought that Robles was going to come in the sixth, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you don't know what we're doing. And I believe that like this first couple of months is going to be like a test run, because obviously the shortened spring training. Obviously, we didn't predict Chris Sale going out with an injury preseason. So it's a lot of pivoting, thinking on your toes, adjusting, because like I said, the Red Sox will play 17 days straight, and they don't have the luxury of a day off, 2 days off to reevaluate what's going on and change things, or have a practice, God forbid, and try new things and practice people at other places. And so basically these games are kind of like a trial run practice, because they have no choice. They have nothing else to do. And there's so many games that in their mind, I feel as though they're like, okay, if we start sub 500 for the first 20, 30 games, it's not that big of a deal, because we're trying to perfect a lineup and perfect a fielding roster to the best of our abilities when we head towards the postseason, which is obviously what matters more than regular season play, which I completely understand that. Just wild to think about. They're kind of disappointing me, but like I said, I understand all the struggles and I understand all of the difficulties, so I'm not gonna hold it against them too much. Yes, I'm disappointed because I know that they're so much better than what they look like right now. I know that they're a better team. I know that they'll get it together. It's just gonna take a little bit longer, but that's okay. I'm patient. Kind of. And it's still Celtics season, so I'm not like super hyper focused on the Red Sox at this time. It's NBA playoffs, so that's like more of my focus right now. So if baseball wants to slack a little bit until I can watch every inning like a hawk and really rip you to shreds if you don't do well, then we're going to have a problem. But for now, they just need to deal with the elements, deal with the, disadvantages. And hopefully these guys in the farm league that they're kind of banking on and betting on, will cash out for them and they will come through when we need them. Because it kind of looks like we're not re-signing Xander, if I'm being quite honest. We have Trevor Story. He's a natural shortstop, got him for 5 years, already paid for him. So I don't see the real driving force or need to re-sign Xander. As much as that sucks, because I would love Xander to stay. Trust me, I do. But I don't think we have enough money to keep them all. But I definitely will say the biggest regret that the Red Sox will have is if they let Devers go. He is special. And to let Devers go would be very, very dumb. So if anybody needs to be re-signed an extension immediately, it would be Devers. But yeah, again, 6-7 to start the season. They play the Tampa Bay Rays tonight. They have a series there in Tampa, and then they're on the road for like a week and a half, and then they come back. They have 1 day off. They play 17 days straight. Then they have 1 day off, May 1st, and then they play again May 2nd at home, and they play at home for, I believe, 2 weeks straight, and then they go on the road again. So I will check in with you about Red Sox talk here and there. Like I said, it would be way too much to talk about 17 days straight of every game, what happens down to the wire. And that would be very boring. So I'll come on here and probably just do exactly what I did. Recap a couple of the series, give you key points and takeaways from those series that I saw. And point out the struggles, point out, the good things, and go from there. Prayers up to Alex Cora. Hope he is doing okay and that he gets well soon. And I hope that nobody else was affected by COVID this time around. And I just hope that the bats wake up and the defense tightens up and they are no longer sub 500 when I come back on and talk to you. So this has been Brie Marie D for Sox Talk edition of Boston Banner Bound. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will talk to you guys soon. Thank you.